Hello, welcome back. You've got me on RealCopStoriesVideos.com. If you want to talk to me or make some comments, go to this site, rsbcopstories@gmail.com. Okay, this is this is just like, we work a job. It's just like any other business, except we carry guns and arrest people. But internally, we have a coffee room, which if you do my numerous stories, some hilarious stuff that went on in that coffee room, notorious, because we didn't have conference rooms except for roll call. So, but we had a coffee room, and of course it has a refrigerator. And I work night shift, so I would get the wrath of things that go on in that coffee room from the day shift. And in most police circles, well, I don't know about the smaller departments, a little more elitist, and we're a big one. The night guys and the morning shift guys, the guys from midnight to 8, and the guys from 4 afternoon till midnight, don't really like the day shift guys, because they're there because they don't want to work. They're there because they're on their way up to promote. They're there to take exams. They're not really there to do police work. I'm sorry, they're not. It's just the way it is. So they're kind of resentful of that. And consequently, the day watch guys use the refrigerator extensively because you know what? They don't go out in the field. Okay, they sit inside and run the station. I'm glad they do that because I didn't want to do it. Okay, so consequently, the night guys and the morning shift guys, they don't use the refrigerator. We aren't against to eat. How are we going to eat? We can't have a refrigerator. So one day we're at roll call, and I remember now, I noticed when I was supervisor, if you go to a roll call of 45 or 50 people, and this particular thing you're going to talk about only relates to about 7 of them, you don't do it in a room full of guys because you're going to get a bunch of resentment on this, okay? This is what happened. The lieutenant of the detectives comes in and takes time out to basically tell us that he wants to make sure we all put our food away after 3 days in the refrigerator because it's rotting and it smells. Like I said, most of us in there never use the reefer. Maybe one guy to leave us a lunch sandwich because most of us are working. I'll tell you right now, for years, I was 14 years as a patrolman. I ate on that hood of that car almost every day. Okay, I didn't have time to eat. I don't have time for donuts. People say, "Oh, go to cops get donuts." I didn't have time to have donuts. I'm working minority division. I'm working Latino division. I'm working black division. Well, I don't have time for that sort of thing. If we grab a hot dog, we're in the car taking off to a call. So anyway, so now he's saying that, give us, like I told you, given the thing about, clean out this, clean out your food, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, and he's kind of mad, okay? And he goes, are we clear on this? And some salty trade officer, I was new then, I only had like 3 years on. He raised his hand. Yes, he goes, Lieutenant, have you researched who you're talking to in this room? Can you imagine? And we're all like, uh-oh. Even the sergeant, like 7 sergeants here, looking like, what is he doing? He goes, what are you talking about? And the officer says, well, I think none of us use that refrigerator. And it hit him. It hit him in the head that he is coming out spouting something that doesn't apply to 43 guys or in this roll call. And you can see it. You can see those things clicking in his head. As much as he got a lobotomy when he made lieutenant, there's still some brain matter up there. Okay, and he goes, "Oh, I wasn't aware of that." And I wanted to say, "Well, maybe you should have," but I just kept quiet. Okay, years later on, I would do that because I got some time on the job and I got hash marks and stripes. I just sat there and everybody's like, ooh. And then the officer says, well, maybe you should go to like day watch. They're the ones that use the refrigerator, sirs. We don't use the refrigerator. And then he stood up. This is what, I love some guys that have enough grapes to do this. He stands up and turns around to the rest of us. Imagine the sergeant just sat there in shock, okay? He goes, anybody in this room use the refrigerator? Give a show of hands. Well, we all knew the answer. None of us. And he goes, you can see, sir, it really doesn't apply to us. And he sat back down. And it was like silence. And he looks over at the lieutenant and some crusty old sergeant. I told you, this looks like Fester. Great guy, oh my gosh. And they're literally like a soap opera. I told you before, some of these episodes. It's camera 1 to the lieutenant, camera 2 to the sergeant, camera 3. I mean, it's just amazing. There's silence. And roll calls, even nowadays, they're pretty racist. They're crazy. They're talking jokes and talking crime and silence. Almost 60 people in there for about 5 or 6 seconds. Nobody knew what to say. The move is the lieutenant. He's the move now. And he goes, okay, well, if some of you, here we go. Well, if some of you guys ever transfer, he's backpedaling, okay. You ever transfer to day watch, we have problems there and we need to make sure that, I'm sitting there going, man, I've only been on the job 3 years. You need to get out of here. You don't need to stick around, okay. So he goes, okay, well, thank you. He goes, thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you for the time. Thanks, gentlemen. And he walks out. There's no women at the time in these divisions. So he walks out. Again, silence. Now there's about 7 sergeants and 1 head sergeant. I call him Fester. and then there's one lieutenant. Well, lieutenant in any organization, even the Marine Corps, I was in the Marine Corps, they're kind of a figurehead. The guy that runs everything is the sergeants. They run everything. And then if you need a problem, you go to the lieutenant, okay? So he just sat there, lieutenant, and the Fester, I'll call him, goes, is it just me, or is that guy kind of a jackass? And everybody just started laughing. Can you imagine? He's talking about a lieutenant, but it's not his lieutenant. And he doesn't care either, because this lieutenant has about 20 years on, and the sergeant has about 30 years on. He doesn't care, okay? So we just started laughing, and then, again, you can't do this, okay? So there's some mumbling, and guys are making wisecracks, and what does he talk to the day watch guy? Why does he come in here? I mean, it's all coming out after he's gone, which, okay, fine. So I'm sitting in the back, because I'm watching this. I thought it was hilarious. I thought, oh my gosh. So then, okay, fine. So there's another story you can look up about the monster car. Look that up in my stories. So he goes, okay, everybody hit the field, because they're all going to the field, okay? So cars are clearing. In other words, like I had a call sign, I'll call it 24. I go, 24, we're clear. And the girl says, Roger, downtown, communications, that we're ready to go. 36, we're clear. Roger, 42, we're, all the numbers, 10, 15, 20 cars will sign on. He puts everybody on, and the calls come in, they assign you calls. Okay, that's how it's done. Somebody gets a call at a market, okay? Here it comes. Gets a call at a market, theft at a market. I won't name the market, doesn't really matter. And they respond, Roger. And we had little speakers in our cars. They're called cheater boxes. And whenever a unit broadcasts to communications downtown, we could hear them on the cheat box. They don't do that anymore. I think they should. Because if officer puts out a help call or gunfire, he'll yell on the microphone, I need help. And sometimes a girl doesn't get it, but we always get it because we're on like a speaker, in your car. It's on the side, we can hear it. So the car says, Roger on the call. And then somebody goes in a obscure voice, so it would not be identified by the FCC. He goes, check the reefer. Oh my gosh. And we're all going, and then she says, I say she because in those days, all the radio dispatch are ladies, we're ladies. She says, unit on 13, which was our frequency, would you repeat? And then silence. And then somebody else says, because I knew it was not the same person, check the reefer. Oh my gosh, okay, so we're cops, okay? We're rebels. A lot of us are alphas, okay. So, of course, everybody's laughing. Okay, so now we go through the ship. No other responses like that, okay? Because you won't get many calls at markets. Usually somebody stole something. That's the car you get in a market, or a market parking lot. Next day, roll call, okay? We're roll call. Everybody's almost the same people are in there, okay? Same sergeant, everybody. And so then, but lieutenant, I told you, the patrol, who's supposed to just be sitting there making sure everything's fine, kind of the captain of a ship, he's got 6 people steering it, he just stands there and makes sure they go the right way. He's not really there to put hands on. He decides to say something. And like the last video I told you, he says, they always ask him before we go, do you have anything? You always do that. I've done that with my lieutenant. My guys have done it to me when I made top step. That's just procedure to see if you have anything to add. How about adding something that's valuable, okay? Or significant, or relevant. All these big words I can't spell, okay? So he goes, there's another call to a market. I don't want to hear, check the reefer. I don't know who's saying that, and we know we have a FCC licensed for radio communication. We can't violate that rule. Otherwise, there could be consequences. And somebody else raised their hand. He goes, what? He goes, if we violate the FCC thing, are they going to shut off our radios? It's a pregnant question. They're not going to shut off our radios. What they'll do is they'll send a letter to the department, and then the chief will get it. Here comes it. It'll go all the way down the chain, all the way down to the patrol sergeant. He'll say, I've investigated it. I can't find who said it. Right back up. Just a waste of time, a waste of breath to say. Just say, don't say anything, because I told you before on my stories. When there's an incident like that, when somebody says check the reefer, let it go. If you're up above and you're a lieutenant and sergeant, it's going to go away, and it goes away because in a couple of days or even the next day, some officer does something else stupid, like jump out of a car and fire a round off in the air by accident. Then now that's the center of attention. The other thing about the refrigerator goes away. Okay, so you don't have to sit there like some pompous guy saying, we're going to lose our FCC license. It's not going to happen. Don't be talking like that. And most of the time, I hate to say this, lieutenant above are all college graduates. Some have masters, some have whatever you want to call it, Phi Beta Kappas and summa cum laude and all this. And they just can't think that maybe we should just let this go because I'm dealing with cops, not widget makers. I'm not dealing with people that sit on the assembly line. I'm dealing with guys that have personalities, and they're gunslingers, and they chase criminals, and really don't care about the FCC taking away the license. We'd say, no, it's not going to happen. So anyway, so that was pretty good. The lieutenant originally should never come in there, and that guy had a guy having grapes raise his hand and say, why are you here? That's pretty good. That's pretty ballsy. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that story. Not a big one, but see you next time.